Bryn, the woman everyone dislikes, wakes up to find an unexpected visitor in her house. But this intruder isn't a person, it's something else. Bryn lives alone in a faraway place. She spends her morning working on a small model of a nearby town called Mill River. She's a seamstress and sews beautiful dresses. After finishing a dress, she prepares it to be sent to a customer. Before leaving her house, she notices a dry patch on her lawn and waters it. As she drives to town, she tries to greet her neighbor, but he ignores her. In town, she avoids people and quickly drops off her packages in the mailbox. She also visits her mother's grave, but leaves in a hurry when she hears others coming. On her way home, she hides from Police Chief Collins and his wife. When she returns, she starts writing a letter to her friend Maud, but stops when she sees the mailman delivering her package. Excitedly, Bryn retrieves the package and finds a model school for her town inside. She spends her day alone, practicing dancing, writing her letter to Maud, and preparing her dinner. When the phone rings, she quickly hangs up, knowing it's probably someone calling to yell at her. Despite being isolated, Bryn tries to enjoy her evening, although she confesses in her letter to Maud that she may never forgive herself for something that happened years ago. While she sleeps, something descends from the sky and hovers over her house. When it lands, all the electronics in her home turn on before the power goes out completely. Bryn wakes up to a loud noise and discovers something moving her garbage cans outside. Thinking it's an animal, she goes out to check, noticing that the power is out. To her horror, she finds the front door open. The bell from her model town rings in the living room, and she sees a shadowy figure moving. Bryn freezes as the intruder emits strange clicking sounds while rummaging through her belongings. Terrified, Bryn slowly backs up the stairs, but the floor creaks, catching the intruder's attention. It rushes toward the stairs, so Bryn quietly runs to her room and closes the door. In a panic, she grabs a bag from under her bed, but accidentally drops something that clatters on the floor. Hearing the intruder running towards her bedroom, Bryn jumps to the other side of her bed just before it opens the door. The creature, with its emaciated body and long, bony fingers, searches the room inches away from Bryn. Luckily, it checks the bathroom and closets first, allowing her to sneak under the bed before it reaches the mattress. The creature hops to the other side, giving Bryn a chance to see its strange, alien features as it looks out the window. Suddenly, it lets out a screeching noise before climbing out the window. Once it's outside, Bryn shuts the window. She then grabs a curling iron as a makeshift weapon and heads to the front door to close it. She hears the alien on the roof as it makes its way back to the front, so she rushes to the door and locks it before the creature can reach it, securing herself inside. Suddenly, all the lights and gadgets in Bryn's house turn on, making loud noises that scare her. She quickly turns off the TV and the record player so she can hear the alien outside. After a while, she tries calling for help on her phone, but it makes a loud screeching sound. Bryn gets scared when her fridge door opens and closes by itself. She tries to run away but sees the alien coming down the stairs. Bryn hides behind a cabinet and hears the phone's normal sound, indicating it's working again. But before she can reach it, the alien grabs the phone and puts it back on the wall. The alien sees Bryn's reflection in the window and uses its special powers to open the fridge door near her, trapping her inside. The alien comes closer, but Bryn pushes the door, knocking the creature down. She escapes as sparks fly, but the alien uses its powers to slam the front door shut, hurting Bryn. Confused and injured, Bryn crawls away as the alien comes closer. She tries to hide under her model town table, but the creature moves things around, breaking her collection. The creature pulls Bryn towards it, but she grabs a broken piece of her model and stabs it into the creature's head. Shaken by the horrifying experience, Bryn stays awake all night. In the morning, she checks to make sure the alien is dead, covers it with a blanket, and attempts to call for help. Unfortunately, her phone is useless, and all her electronics are broken. Even her car won't start. Bryn cleans herself, removing the blood, and blocks her broken door with a sofa before leaving on her bicycle. As she rides, she discovers the mailman's van overturned and her neighbor's house in ruins. There are strange, circular patches of dead grass on her neighbor's lawn, indicating crop circles. Bryn realizes her house wasn't the only target that night. She continues to Mill River and rushes to the police station, only to confront her former friend's parents, the Collins. Mrs. Collins glares at her with hatred and even spits at Bryn's face. Without saying a word, Mrs. Collins leaves, followed by her husband, who also stares at Bryn before walking away. After the humiliating incident at the police station where the officers avoid her gaze, Bryn leaves, overwhelmed by grief and anxiety. She leans against a wall, weeping as painful memories flood back. Convinced that nobody in town will believe or help her, she decides to escape. Bryn boards a bus, feeling a sense of liberation, thinking she's finally free from the people who despise her. Unbeknownst to her, the bus passes more houses marked with crop circles in their lawns. Bryn starts to relax, but her peace is shattered when the mailman sits behind her. Uncomfortable, she moves to another seat, but the man grabs her and pulls her towards him. He makes the same strange sounds as the alien from the previous night, and Bryn notices something moving in his throat. Realizing he's being controlled, she pushes him away, causing herself to fall to the floor. Another passenger tries to help Bryn, but the mailman shoves him aside and climbs over the seats toward her. Another woman on the bus is also possessed by the alien creatures and joins the pursuit. Bryn kicks her away, but the mailman persists. Finally, the driver notices the chaos and slams on the brakes, causing the mailman to fall to the floor. Despite his awkward position, he crawls toward Bryn, determined. In a panic, Bryn exits the bus and starts running, with the mailman following her relentlessly. Desperate and terrified, Bryn arrives at a gated dirt road, the distant screams from the bus still echoing in her ears. She sneaks through the gate and makes a run for the church, hoping to find safety. To her dismay, the church is locked. Left with no other choice, Bryn decides to visit the empty graveyard where her friend Maud is buried. She grieves for her lost friend, but is interrupted by looming thunderclouds above, a sinister sign of the alien's presence. Sensing danger, Bryn runs as the thunderclouds start to engulf the entire town. She ends up back at her neighbor's house, where a group of people, including her neighbor with a creature in his throat, is waiting for the aliens from above. When they spot Bryn, she dashes to her house. There, she finds the alien's lifeless body, but a trail of liquid leads away from it. Investigating further, Bryn lifts the covers and discovers something has crawled out of the alien's mouth. Following the trail outside, she finds it ends beneath her flower bushes. As the sun begins to set, Bryn devises a plan to defend her home against the impending threat. Fueled by determination, Bryn lights lanterns, boils pots of water on her stove, and gathers makeshift weapons. She secures her windows and uses a heavy quilt to block the front entrance. As she prepares, beams resembling searchlights shine through her windows. Night falls, and Bryn notices the nails she used to secure the quilt dropping on their own. She hides in the living room just in time as the aliens blast the fabric off and throw the couch aside. The light outside lifts the dead alien's body and guides it away from her house before everything falls silent again. Seeing an opportunity, Bryn heads for the basement, just as another alien arrives on her porch. She tries to escape through the bulkhead, but the light suddenly shines from outside, and the aliens blast the bulkhead open. Bryn hides as another alien enters her home. With quick thinking, she grabs a pair of shears and hides under a table. Her heart races when a mannequin is toppled, but before she can react, the alien is standing right in front of her. It pushes the table against the wall, and Bryn aims her shears at the creature. The alien telekinetically sends Bryn's weapon flying, but she instinctively grabs the nearest item, the picture of her and Maud as kids. The alien pulls the photo from her hand again, but pauses to stare at it, intrigued. This distraction allows Bryn to sprint up the stairs. A smaller alien pounces and tackles her, prompting Bryn to bite its arm, forcing it to release her. Spotting the pots of water still on her stove, Bryn rushes to them and splashes hot water at her attacker. The scalding water harms the creature, but Bryn soon runs out. The angry alien corners her, and Bryn hears another creature calling from outside. Acting swiftly, she retreats behind the stairs just before a beam of light shoots from the door, pinning the pot she's holding to the wall. The smaller alien, unaffected by the beam, advances, leaving Bryn feeling cornered. The beam deactivates, and the creature stands at the end of the hallway, observing her. Seizing the opportunity, Bryn slips into her laundry room, but as soon as she closes the door, the alien breaks it down with its claws. Cornered and desperate, Bryn seizes a mop to defend herself. When the alien breaks the handle, she stabs it with the sharp edge and slams a wardrobe door against its head, ultimately killing it. With her adrenaline pumping, she manages to escape outside, only to encounter a much larger alien behind her shed. As she attempts to flee, she inadvertently collides with the possessed mailman. He drags her toward the large alien, which uses its spindly arms to communicate with the spacecraft hovering above them. Desperate, Bryn scratches the mailman's arm and kicks him away to break free. The spacecraft releases a beam, capturing the mailman before releasing him, dropping him lifelessly. Inside, the alien creature from the mailman's throat emerges from his broken body. Meanwhile, Bryn notices the larger alien preparing to attack. She runs as it charges through her garden. Attempting to return to her house, she finds the creature on her roof, shrieking into the night sky. More voices echo from the darkness, responding to its call. The alien stalks closer, but it slips on a pillar and falls. Despite this, it rushes toward Bryn, who cleverly enters her car and exits from the other side. The alien becomes trapped inside the vehicle, desperately trying to break free. In a desperate move, Bryn notices the broken gas tank and sets the fuel ablaze with a lighter. She runs away just before the car explodes, incinerating the alien. But her victory is short-lived, as another spacecraft releases a beam of light that chases her. Bryn rushes back to her house and hides in the attic. The alien from the basement discovers Bryn's letters to Maud and their childhood photos, providing a distraction. Seizing the opportunity, Bryn attempts to attack it from behind, but the alien hurls her against the wall, leaving her helpless. Crawling away, she retreats into her bedroom, finding the furniture shoved aside. The spacecraft sends a beam directly at her from the window, pinning her against the ceiling. The alien levitates toward her and spits out a smaller, parasitic alien, which enters her throat. Suddenly, Bryn wakes up screaming, finding herself in her clean bedroom. She is overwhelmed with a mix of relief and fear, realizing that everything was just a horrifying nightmare. In her confusion, Bryn hears voices outside and heads downstairs, relieved to find her home intact. Her model town, including the bell tower she had used in her dream, is perfectly set up. Hearing laughter from the backyard, Bryn collapses in surprise as her best friend Maud appears, alive and grown up. Overwhelmed with emotion, Bryn apologizes to her friend, but a nagging feeling of confusion persists as she tries to make sense of the situation. Suddenly, she realizes she's still in a dream. Panicked, Bryn shoves her hand into her mouth and pulls out the parasite from her throat, waking up in her ruined lawn. Determined, she attempts to squash the alien, but it evades her grasp. The spacecraft sends a beam of light, causing the parasite to evolve rapidly. Before it completes its transformation, Bryn flees, unaware that the aliens have created a humanoid form from the evolving parasite. Hiding in the woods, Bryn encounters a double of her own body created by the aliens. Confused and disoriented, she is caught off guard as the alien Bryn stabs her. Refusing to give up, Bryn takes out a small sharp tool and defeats her clone. Holding the strange creature, she feels sad, seeing herself dead. After that, Bryn walks along a quiet road, holding her hurt side. Suddenly, she hears footsteps in the dark, and a big alien appears. A bright light pulls her into a spaceship where she can't move. Inside, aliens study her and touch her head to see her memories. Bryn remembers moments from her past, like building models with her mom and a time when she ran away from home. But then, she recalls a very bad memory. She and her friend Maud were arguing in the woods. Maud pushed Bryn, and Bryn got really angry. She picked up a rock and accidentally hurt her friend, causing her to die. Bryn is shocked to remember this and finds herself facing her younger self again. On that day, filled with guilt and mourning, Bryn witnesses her younger self starting to write to Maud, trying to cope with her sorrow. Desperate to change her past and offer forgiveness to herself, Bryn reaches out, hoping to somehow convey her message across time. The aliens observe these memories and the deep regrets in Bryn's mind. Suddenly, something above them seems to reach a decision, and the aliens turn their attention back to Bryn just before she is returned to the empty road. Weeks pass, and Bryn wakes up one morning with a newfound enthusiasm. She cycles to her neighbor's home and helps them fix things. Strangely, her neighbors now greet her with warm smiles, although they are all still being controlled by the aliens. That night, Bryn joyfully attends a town festival, dancing with her neighbors. In this strange paradise orchestrated by the aliens, she finds acceptance and happiness, a stark contrast to the years of rejection she faced from her fellow humans. Cheers, thanks for watching.